would have already gone through. Do vote live now. Usually a bit quieter, so don't do. I need to grab it from here. And it's at least really on point. Give it that much. That's not what I'm looking for. Wait. This should be able to go. Which? Okay. Apparently you need to think, which is never a good thing. Do. Good evening, all. Going to doing some art tonight, starting with updating that. Then otherwise, just screwing around. This one I'm fairly certain is on an auto clock, so don't need to spam Mitchie's side with it. Here. Here. Now, is Jason going to be live tonight? Doesn't look like it. Ooh. Blood stuff yourself. Here. Here. That's good enough for now. The initial ad roll's got a minute left. That's okay. Alrighty, so how do we gotta do this? I think with how I did it originally, I'm gonna need to do this one at a time, so that's alright. Just close up all of these other layers for now, and then just do one at a time as we need. There may be a slightly more efficient way of doing this, but may as well get basics done out of the way. Hey, the Solace. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. We're just going to be editing our Wiggly Buddy tonight, but if any other drawing potential comes up, we'll probably get to it. But how are things on your side so far? Probably change the nose color as well. What would be a good nose color, though? Probably a bit brighter. I can look into that. And then I might look into giving Wiggles an axe instead of a gun. We'll kind of play that by ear. Poor little Wiggly Buddy. Some of these frames are almost on the level of smear framing and it does not give you the best look. that at least finishes the loop. Now why don't we fix those eyes, since I apparently did not want to do that the last time and did it the simple solution. I think that's like little. Then we just want to make sure that we are covering all of the whites, like this one. Here. Sorry, Mr. Wiggles, I did you way too loose and fast when I first tried this. You deserve a bit of a proper send-off. Oops. Oh, wow. Couple little things. Hey there, Nano. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running alright for you. We're just going to be doing a little bit of art shindiggery today, with a bit of editing of our Wiggly just to match up with the new model, and then just drawn like I should be doing. First major change will be changing the collar to a yellow just to match up to the eyes, mostly to give us the Snail House music. Not currently, but Snail House is going to be in here. Uh, Currently I'm just listening to a playlist which is fairly affectionately titled Hawaii Future Bass. And I think I need to keep it up for this to catch it, which does include just a lot of basic chiptune-y stuff. Cute. So it's nice to kind of just jam to and keep my brain active while I'm getting stuff done. Oh, Snail made this song? Okay. That would explain a little bit more then. It does definitely sound like their stuff, so can't say I'm super surprised. Poor little Wiggly. Here. Guessing by at least how Spotify ends up labeling things, I'm going to assume a lot of the songs will end up being either part of Snail House's catalog or to some extent just being related to it. Shout out Nano. Look at Solace being the rambunctious mod. And there's even a clip, too. Oh, that's coming from the clip. Okay. I was trying to wonder where the audio bleed was coming from. Thought someone was playing music outside my windows. The know you. Yeah, sometimes it happens. Solace does have the power after all, and when he's not super involved in something, he has the time to fool around a little. And considering the day that he had yesterday, I think it's relatively fair to just kind of give him some time to relax. God, I was so lazy when I did this the first time. Come on, Jude, in the past, you can do a lot better than this. Yeah, the couple things that we'll be doing today is cleaning up the Wiggly a little bit, changing a couple of the colors, like the frill being the yellow now, as well as adding the jacket underneath, just to separate all of the fins and the body and such. That's mostly why this is going to take us a while, which is why I kind of wanted to put this to a stream, just so that way we can have an audience going in case anyone's curious about how some of these template things work. Or wondering why I go through the design processes that I end up doing, because they may not make the most sense conceptually. Kind of funny, my school prohibits students from making art involving guns, also kind of scary as well. Hmm. I guess it makes sense as to why they would try and limit the amount of art of guns, because while it is nice to have like the self-expression from the meaning and symbology behind guns, they're probably just trying to keep the idea of people getting a hold of a gun, because that's not usually a very good thing at the end of the day, being understatement of the year. I don't have Minecraft or anything else open, I don't think. Um, no, okay, it is just Spotify. I'm just losing my mind is all. Oot. Poor little Wiggly's not gonna know what hit him. Oot. Is there a button for that? I don't think there's a button for lock transparency layer. That's fine. One thing that does come to mind, though, that I probably wouldn't mind trying to draw in the future is maybe trying to do Jude in an Animal Crossing style. You're animating in Procreate? Nope. I have no idea what that program even is. I'm just doing the cells in CSP, and then I'll be putting them through an online GIF maker because I can never figure out the goddamn tools I need for that. And I'm still quite bad at using Aseprite to actually animate anything, unfortunately. I should figure it out one of these days, just brain has not really clicked on how to get uh, Aseprite to actually let me do that. Yeah. And which art softwares do I have? I've got Clip and Aseprite, so I know you can animate in Aseprite, but I'm bad with those tools because I used to do all of my pixel work in Photoshop Elements, and then I lost Photoshop Elements, and then lost the ability to really animate anything again. And I guess that's the top layer. Alrighty, guess we're doing the jacket. And then Krita is free if you want to try something new. Hmm. I think I've heard the name Krita a little bit, but it's definitely not something that's come to mind as of late. Yeah. Apparently I've gone to its site before, though. Let's see here. A good Photoshop alternative? Hmm. Maybe then. Their website does have fairly cute art as examples on it already. And you can animate in it? Hmm. Maybe. That should kill the stream, right? Or can I actually download stuff while I'm streaming? Because I don't mind if I can, but usually speaking, that should kill it. So Pebble was animated in it? Okay. So what you're saying is that there is a first-hand example. I cannot think of the proper wording for a joke there. Looks like the stream isn't dying while I'm downloading this, so that's fine. All right, let's see here. We now need to do something that screws with our body on our poor little seal friend. So let's see if I can get open here, here, our handy dandy character sheet. Because I would like to steal colors off of this where possible. Yep. All right, putting you into the background to draw for a bit. All right, sounds good. Enjoy your art, Nano. We'll be here in case you need anything. Could probably get my tablet out for this, couldn't I? Continuing the weekly practice grind. That's probably a good thing to do, yeah. Because you're going to be working on that team for a bit to actually get that project done. So hopefully you enjoy your practice. And hopefully your cute little village girl doesn't cause you too many problems. We'll just be here fiddling around with this, so... And trying to emulate the fuzziness that's currently existing within this. And this should be under, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, base color is good. Also, as reference, I'm going to have to do this on every single frame because most of this does not line up super well. Yep. And we'll have to give him implied arms in places, but that's probably about normal. But we'll get the base layers done just so that way we can line it up and not create too many problems. Because we don't want the jacket fidgeting too much in terms of the movement, at least. Yeah. And then there should be a little bit of jacket here. And here. And I don't know to what extent we can get the body involved. Let's just take a look here at our Wiggly. To see where the body actually lines up. Okay, so there will be places we can actually get the jacket over. Just working on this layer does make it a little bit harder to see. That's about normal. Grab a darker color to put here. Okay. Wasn't pressing hard enough. That's fine. And I probably don't need it being that dark, but considering we're going to be in tiny baby GIF format, that would probably give us better excuse too. probably should match it to there. Right, that works. And then the body. What are you doing in this frame? Look like it's scrunched up, so too big. Here. And then we'll have to put this here for the top half of the jacket. We're not going to try and make this super detailed, but we do at least need to make it obvious where all of the design points are. Big. Gotta remember working on small layers this time. So we can't have too big of a brush. Yeah. Color-wise, that works. Now we're just going to have to replicate that on every subsequent layer. Oh, actually. There we go. Let's see here. Arms are going to be sitting relatively close to what we're doing. Actually. This can go up a little. This will still have to reach up relatively high, but we can worry about kind of thinning this out a bit just to imply that he's stretching. And then this can do the same. And this bit will want to come up a bit since his head is going up. There we go. Then we will need black right here. There we go. We're looking to want to make Wiggly be comfortable at the very least. So that's why I'm trying to make the jacket look a little bit poofier on him compared to me. At least a little bit. I'm also realizing I need like a 3-color selector right now because we need the other line too. actually draw in between the sleeves and such. Yep. One. Now, what is this one doing? This one's going up even higher and a little bit more forward. Okay. Which means that this little bit will go even higher than before. Yep. We'll also probably not worry too much about the purple plaid that's on the cuffs of the jacket this time around. When dealing with colors that are going to be fairly simple, it's probably not a great idea to overcomplicate details that are just going to get lost in the movement. And while that part will at least be noticeable, it's just going to be too fuzzy, I think, in emote form. So we're just not even going to bother with it. Probably shouldn't go super far out from the jacket layer above it, huh? Here, and we're going higher. So about there. And then similar on this side. Dark part of the jacket also goes a wee bit higher. Although I think this frame is the highest point of the wiggle, so we're going to have to start going down from here. Which won't be too bad, at least. Tidy up this little guy's sleeves. Because you got to be careful to not stick to your onion layer for too long, lest you get a little bit too lost. Yep. Then go a little bit deeper. Then here. And in all honesty, it might just be tempting to do... Don't drag that out. Might be tempting to just do it like this without getting too many details in it. I guess technically speaking, you can show this just within the program, can't you? But the easiest way for me, at least, is doing that. Oops. Is that flowing well, brain? Not fully. Hair doesn't come down deep enough. Gotta make sure we're implying the proper amount of wiggly booty, lest we try and not give ourselves enough cake for it to matter. And then you need to be adjusted a wee bit as well. You're a little bit too rounded. Okay, that should be fine. And then what is the visual difference here? Looks like he's going forward and down slightly. Cool, we can actually bring this down a little bit now. Alrighty. Oh, there we go. And almost keep that in the same place, to be honest with you. Just kind of squish it up a little bit against his frill. And then this part can come down like this. Bigger. There we go. Yeah, we're trying to upgrade that little guy. I'll also upgrade him like on the overlay as well, but I will keep like the beta design or beta? Would I call Jude 1.0 beta? No, Jude 1.0 isn't really a beta. That's an initial release. We'll keep Jude initial release, wiggles around, and I'll also probably make a gun version, a standard version, and then an axe version. That seems like it'd be plausible. Because adding the gun wasn't really a hard point, I will say that. Let's see here. I'm definitely still a little bit noobish when it comes to tablet controls and mouse controls. I'm far too used to doing things with my mouse at this rate that it's hard to just only do tablet controls. So that's something I'll have to kind of work my way through at some point. Oh, that's why I'm on the wrong eraser. Need to make sure to move this forward a little bit as well. Wiggly's putting his heart out to bend over for us. We gotta make sure that he can actually appreciate that movement. Go. Then the booty shot, which will be coming downwards, so you can go to here. And then since this is coming down, we can... Not that hard yet. Reach out a little bit with this. Let's see here. Probably don't need you. Just that way I can see what I'm doing and where the thrill is. Welcome in, Sauce. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. Currently we're just working on updating that Wiggly, just because he's a little bit out of date, but it's not in a bad way. Just because we've got new colors now that are better to promenade on the Wiggly going forward, as well as updating it a little bit and clean it up since it's a little fuzzy. But how are things on your side so far? And hopefully the evening's treating you okay. I know at least Saturday is at least a little bit better to get some stuff done on. Then that's why I had you up. Make sure to move this down a smidge. There you go. That should hold us just fine. And we need our separator layer. Then here also needs it. Just separate the booty from the arm. This is the only problem with needing to edit the Wiggly. They kind of just go along the ideals of having the entire... Oh, I can't tablet over that screen. Where the entire body is technically separated, just not visually. So it at least implies the movement of the other half of the body, but it just kind of ends up being a blob if you're blind. It's been alright, personal art, and using tissues most of the day. Yeah, that sounds about right for the winter season. Hopefully not too many people have to worry about the oncoming cold season. If only because it tends to suck a fair amount when you just get some random sickness that you can't really get rid of. Oh, Cuppy is going live too. Alright, that's fine. Now let's see here. The Wiggle looks adorable. I mean, yeah, the Wiggle tends to be fairly adorable, right? Why you give everything that's adorable a gun? Makes life a lot easier. Make this visible for a second. I just need to do that. Thank you for the dice. And here. Shrink that down. So this is coming even more down. Okay. Yeah, this one will be a little bit more Jude is getting stuff done than usual. So don't mind me if I'm getting a wee bit quiet during some parts. here. Now we've got our purple back. I guess we need to squish this down, technically. Now that the body is actually just kind of flattening out during this wiggling process. Yep. Then this will come down even further because we jet down kinda hard here. And this will also start to get a little... Don't do this. Hey. The only problem with having the button on the tablet pen is that I do occasionally hit it, and since it's set to right click apparently, it does like doing the eyedropper from time to time, whether I want it to or not. This part will also get to be squished down a little bit, and then the rest of it can be jacket, back half. Although I do think the main problem when it comes down to having wiggles in places is that if we're going to have the axe variant and the gun variant, we're going to have to worry about our emote slots since we can only have 5 of the animated ones at a time. We can keep them in BTTV as well, and I plan to, but for usage across Twitch, at least, we're going to have to come to a decision on which of the wigglies we want to keep and which of the animateds we actually want to keep. Because I like having the gears, but I do like having the wiggles here too. He's just kind of friend-shaped, you know? And it's good to have him around. There we go. And go back to that, and then we will just continue from there. That here? Yeah, that can come down to here. That's fine. Here. The Z command is not wrong. Oh yeah, I forgot I have the Z command up. Is that just tied to... It is still that. Good to know that I remember my own commands. Go, get rid of some of the poof. Down, 3. We'll treat that as this, and then this. Since Wiggles is leaning forward a good bit now. I tried to make sure that we had shutout, or at least quick shutout commands for most of our crew. I do need to work on adding a couple more, I think, but it has been a while since we've needed to, so I do forget from time to time. That's too much of deflation. Having a bend is fine, but having a complete just removal is not great. There we go. That should be fine. The black on the chest and everywhere else seems fine, but the black on the arms seems to just be a little bit too much. That blue looks really subtle against the black. Most of this should be a purple, but that is kind of the idea, right? Because it's supposed to mimic the jacket that I'm currently wearing right now. So it is supposed to be close-ish. But you're right. It is supposed to look subtle. I could add a separating line between the black and the other half just to imply that it's there a bit better. That probably wouldn't hurt considering the sizes we're dealing with right now. Go. Then move this up a little bit. If it's an emote, I don't think people are going to notice the difference. Yeah, that's a problem I've had to wrestle with for a bit. I guess when we get all the form of this done, I'll probably go back and add the separator lines a bit more obvious, kind of like how we ended up doing on that, just to make sure that it can read a little bit better. But for now, we are just trying to mainly get form, so we're still relatively okay for now. That arm line might also be a bit too far in. He's going down, but we're kind of just chopping off his arm by doing that. Stand still, let me see. There we go. Although I guess the emote lines on the Padaru are a little bit tighter too, so that may not be the best example. Close are we? We need to do about 5 more? 6 more? Oh, this is a huge dip. Okay. I also need to grab that again. Thank you. Whoever came up with the Wiggly is a genius. Yeah. Admittedly, I should go back at some point because I am curious who initially made it. Personally speaking, I found it on Nemu's channel, but I don't think they're the originator of it because it's obviously like a Poplio emote edit. So someone was just a gigantic fan of Poplio and wanted that to just kind of throw around, which is fair. You know, Poplio's a cutie. He deserves to have a little bit of love from Sun and Moon past the furbait is kind of the most appropriate word for Primarina, I guess, depending on how you want to treat a mermaid seal. Let's see here. This is a big enough dip that we can realistically do this. Or, okay. This will do the same as we have had before, and just slightly lowering this a bit as we are nearing the ground. And then our sleeve is going to be massive because I am biased and I want to have our Wiggly in a puffy jacket. Go. And then here is going to be the most squished, but we don't need to push it too far in. Mainly because we've got a fairly large coat to deal with, so. Yep. Make it a little bigger. Let's just fill all that in. And admittedly, when the Wiggly was kind of first mass produced into the VTuber community, it was kind of interesting to see how people would actually edit the Wiggly just to match their own VTuber persona. Some people went relatively far and started changing like huge form factor with it, which can work, but may not necessarily be the best thing to do. Some people change just the colors, which is fine, but changing just the colors left it to feel very samey and not necessarily the best option when it comes down to it. And then there were some people who just added a couple extra accessories, like someone had added a sword, which ended up giving me the idea to add a gun and give that to Nemu, because Nemu was a Tarkov player at the time, at the very least. So I kind of just asked her, like, what's your favorite gun in the game? And she said the TT9. So figured it was relatively easy to just kind of mod a gun onto the Wiggly. So that is how Wiggly got a gun. I'm sure I'm not the first person who thought of doing that, but certainly helped to kind of just push the idea out into the cosmos a little bit, for sure, on a bigger channel at least. Let's see here. Where am I leaving? Or we're leaving the black right here. Right here. Here. And then roughly here. Too far. Okay. This can honestly go off. But it is nice to just kind of have the wigglies around too. It kind of gives a universal standard to portraying oneself in another medium, since this is probably one of the bigger emotes that was translated into just people's global emote stash. which isn't inherently a bad thing, but did make it fun to edit because I think the Wigglies had come at a point around October or so. So a lot of people were building their Wigglies right before the Potter craze had come in. And it kind of kept people on their toes, to be honest. Here. Make you smaller and make you work for me. Then this. This can start here, but I might bring this in a little bit over here. And then just extend our back half out a little bit. Since we're kind of flopping down anyways, so this should work out relatively okay. Probably can change the angle of the black on the left arm though. Do something like that, and then that. Just to imply that the arm is turning a little bit while he goes in for his big flop. Okay, that works. And then this frame bops up for some reason. I never really figured out why. Oh yeah, because it's going from the down position back into the flailing up position to return back to 0. Okay. So now we get a little bit of a raise. Maybe enough for a pizza party. We'll have to see. But he does go forward a little bit as well, so this gets to come even more forward. But also up a little bit. And then this does not change very much here, so this sleeve can honestly stay relatively the same, just moved up a little bit. Go. This also does not change a ton, but to imply movement, we can probably move that line up a smidge. Okay, yeah, we can move it up a smidge. That's fine. Because the idea is that he's going to be lurching forward a little bit to do this movement. Then this part gets to come back a bit. then we'll actually have a point where he arches his back enough that this part will matter a little. Okay, that works. Fill all this in. Also gives me better practice at keeping my hands relatively still while I'm just trying to draw lines, since I know that ends up being a little bit of a problem on my side. It's probably not a bad idea to get this kind of a practice in, since I know my lines can be sketchy, to say the least. So actually, they can probably handle this. Here. Oh wow, we're already an hour in. I did not think it would be taking me a super long time to do the wiggly, but I guess since you're going frame by frame, it is going to take us a hot minute to at least get stuff done. Let's see, if we are lurching forward but up, we probably want to keep that relatively hidden. This part can go up a little. This part can also go up a little. This is being lurched forward, so this entire block can move up. And then about here. Also, just to explain the nonsense of what I'm talking about, why did you not draw on that layer? Oh, because I lost my black layer. Whoops. Maybe get that back, Jude. That was kind of important. Alrighty, brain, let's try that again. Would prefer to not try and show people that I'm mildly crazy. Yep. Alright, now with this one, he's lurching forward, so we have precedence to move this up. That should work. Oh, actually too far down. That's weird. Works everywhere else, just not that one band. Okay. That's a bit better. Probably make it a little thicker though. Just up here to imply the whoops, imply the sleeve. And then this place is a little bit SOL, but that's fine. This is going to be one of the main sleeves anyways. There. Go up here and just separate this arm. Go here and separate this section. Yep. Oh boy. Neck gets a little bit too stiff while I'm arting, I find. But I guess that's kind of just what happens when you focus. Now, one thing I have kind of questioned with this is whether or not I'd be able to fit the power button in anywhere, or if that would be adding too many details. But I don't know if it'd be possible to actually fit the power button on here for anywhere except maybe his forehead. I'll keep playing around with the idea. I just don't know if it'll fit anywhere. No. All right, let's see then. You go down. Oh, whoops, hold up. Need my purple again. Yep. All right, now what's up with you, new frame? You're popping up a little bit. Okay. Go to see the stars in this moon. Yeah. You try and move the sleeve up a little bit. This jacket will get to move up a little bit more. This sleeve can move up a little. And what do we do with this? The body's functionally moved down, so this will end up being like so. This is going to be a place where we're kind of interpreting movement in ways that we probably shouldn't, but that will be fine. We will edit things as needed. Yep. Also, since we are getting a little bit late in the day, Solace, wouldn't hurt to check on your Arknight sanity. I know we don't have a new event for about 6 days or so, but never hurts to just keep on top of it in the evening, just in case you need to pass out earlier. I think I'm slowly learning that you have a similar addiction-based issue, or at the very least a level of hyper-focus similar to mine, which I'm slowly getting a better handle on. But admittedly, I end up multitasking a good bit, so that's also just a bias on my end. Let's see here. You're lurching up still, so This still gets a good level of treatment here. This gets to move up just a little bit more. There we go. Now he doesn't move a ton, but we could reasonably move that up more. There we go. Get you a line, get you a spare line. Get you moving up here. Actually, where is my phone plug? You get to be tied up with the rest of this mess of cables phone plug because I need you to go on the main phone. Arguably speaking, I probably should just put my Arknight stuff in BlueStacks and slap it on screen, but I think we have enough on screen as is right now. And you probably don't need another source of just movement. But all I'm doing is running through my sanity for skill books and such because you gotta level up everything and you gotta farm everything. Okay, that works. 3 more. Then we can add some clarifying detail within everything. Alright, so Wiggly is flopping down a bit. Yeah, he's flopping down a bit. That earlobe stays in nearly the same place here, but movement's implied. Here. Better. Alright, so flopping down means jacket comes back down to about here. And I think it's going to move in a little bit just to get ready for the reuniting with the other half of our equation, which we'll have to adjust for a little bit as well, because I think this one sleeve has just been puffing up a little bit too hard, and I'm not sure how to feel about that. Mm. Then this part gets to come down. I can probably do this with it. Just to separate it a little bit from the other jacket. Shoot. And thank you, song, but make sure to hydrate all. You don't want to be getting too dried out during the winter months, lest you get stuck there. Let's see. Ah, right, I didn't clear the notification. Let's see here. You want the black layer to come down a little bit. Oops. Hmm. Weird. What is my redo button again? It is Control Y. Okay, guess not. Yeah. Let's take a peek at that. Jacket's a little bit tight, but considering he's flopping down, that makes sense. That should be fine. Let's just add our brakes into there. Yep. Here we go. Oh, we're going even further down, but we're doing a little twisty motion as well. Okay. That should be fine. This will let us reopen up the jacket again, because we're going to have to get back to that point in these last two frames. But that should be a kind. That should be fine. Shoot. So, open up you, give you a jacket. And then we're going down. So theoretically, we will be flopping. Just to check, but how far down is that? That goes down to about here-ish. So we're actually relatively good on jacket length. We're going down. I think this frame is the lowest frame that you have. Yeah, that'll be the lowest frame, so we can technically keep going lower. Okay. Thank you, system. Also, is this the right color? Yes. Yep. Then we'll start to open this up again because we're getting a little twisty motion in here. Sometimes it is nice to get a little bit of a bend in. And then the shape here is definitely awkward, but go. This will be a sleeve, and since we're twisting back this way, we can do this. And then this part gets to come in because we're twisting in, so we can't have you bogging up everything. Also, we'll apologize partially, if only because some of the music in this playlist does kind of sound like a default ringtone in some phones. It doesn't hurt to check your phone from time to time anyways, but just letting you know you may get a few false flags if you're too used to your default text tone. It does unfortunately help me think, if only because I know what mine sounds like, but this does at least remind me to pay attention to what I'm doing. Yep. Also going to guess that Solace is working on some Minecrafty shenaniganry right now. So hopefully things are building relatively well. I haven't really given myself a ton of time to help out on the server, so I did at least help in getting some of the trees together. That's at least good. That should work out fine. Hey, the Maxi. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. You like the sharp teeth? The sharp teeth are definitely a feature, for good reason. I'm also mildly biased since my time in the furry community, at the very least, taught me that I tend to like the sharks over pretty much any other type, so yeah. There's my personal biases shown. Not that I've really interacted with the furry community in a fairly long time, but that bias tends to stick around for a very long time. But how are things on your side so far, Maxie? Want to grab your mouth and look at him closer? Well, I mean, the option is always there. We can zoom in when we need to, at least. Doot. And then, when in doubt, all you gotta do is ask. That all in. Get that all in. This is kind of lurching back, so this layer can come down further. I'm alright. Work was slightly cooler. Okay. Well, that's definitely handy. I know at least when it does come into the winter months, that does at least tend to be one benefit with certain kinds of work, where they're able to just use the natural cooling of outside to kind of downplay things on how hot they can end up getting. Because I know that I used to work in a kitchen at one point, and it tended to be a little bit easier to just kind of open up the back door to get the airflow coming in instead of trying to worry about any kind of natural cooling. It is definitely down. That one sleeve is way too far, though, for that movement, I think. But it should be fine. Hmm. Look how the Wiggly has a gun. Yeah, Wiggly does have a gun. It is toggleable, though, so for now, I'm just kind of leaving it on, but what I'll end up doing at the end is we'll be exporting all of these as 3 different versions. One will be basic with just the coat. One will have a gun, and then we'll also just work on getting an axe in. I'll probably have to put the axe blade on this side, and then just have Wiggly hold it that way, just to fit within the square gif of it all. But we'll be able to get it. Also have to just make an axe that works for this, but that shouldn't be too hard. We'll also have to add a separating line between these 2 colors, because I can see them relatively clear on my screen, but as an emote, that's definitely going to be a bit of a problem. But Wiggly is at least trained. He's got his professional water gun license, and he's ready for any oncoming attackers that may disturb him. Alright, now the fun one. Because now we have to do this layer, which has to link back to here. And I don't think I can do a multiple onion layer on this. Just to figure this out. I can. Actually not going to be too hard to get back to that. But this is really trippy to look at, I'll be completely honest. That's the collar. Alright. Yeah, good old quack. We will have to basically get the jacket to fit in between this layer and this layer. So it's going to be a little tricky. Just to make sure that it can flow relatively smoothly between the two. Yes, hello. Do hope the evening is running well for you so far. I also just need to double check that side. What line? So we're here, having to go to here. And then up to that. Okay. That's at least fair. This is going to be a real awkward one, but we can get it. Okay. This goes here. And then it'll move up afterwards. This goes here, roughly. Then we'll just fill all this in with the purple. We'll add our blacks, and then we'll just kind of cross-reference between the 3 to make sure that that lines up relatively well. Then we can go back and add all of our detailing lines that are going to be needed, just so that way the coat doesn't get super lost as an emote. You can also make a bigger brush for this part. But 3 layers of onions is definitely a bit too many layers for my personal tastes, so just letting you know now, if you are a fan of onions, I'm sorry, but I will never cook those. The most I can handle of the root vegetable supreme flavor is garlic. Onion just tastes gross. Shoot. Oh, I didn't even bother doing that side. Whoops. Okay, so we're going back to that line, which isn't too bad. And then we will be shrinking back to that sleeve. About there. Okay, that's not too bad. And then there's not really a huge change here. We can kind of just get away with using the same angle. That fin does not get as much love on this, I think, but that's fine. We do at least get a little bit of added movement in. Yep. God, that looks freaky. Like Wiggles is having a bit of an existential crisis, isn't sure if he needs to go to the left or go north. I'm so sorry, little guy. There and here. Probably actually fix that a little bit, but that's fine. Hmm. Can probably just work off of there. You come back down. We want most of our black layer to be higher. Just to link back up to main jacket on first frame. Here. Just make it big so we can fill all of that in. And you get to go up. And then this part is subdued, so we don't got to worry about that too much. Okay. Get our line separator in, which will be here-ish. Here-ish. Then here. There we go. And then going from that layer to here works relatively well. Except for the 1 black armband bit, but That's an easy fix. That's like a very subtle fix. This. Also, are you not fully visible? I guess eyes are just playing tricks on me. Alrighty. That should at least give our Wiggly Boy a jacket. Now we just gotta make sure that there's a good separating layer between our black and our purple. Since I know on the stream view at least. Oh. I can't actually show that without giving you the infinite loop now, can I? Well, at least on the jacket view, it's not like super irredeemable, but it is at least there. Good. I should probably make it a little bit more obvious on an emote level, which will require some white. Baby, summer is gone. Our memories move on. Maybe time will lead me to another you. Get that in. Might need to make it a little brighter though. Maybe blend it in a little bit. This. Baby, summer is gone. Our memories move on. Maybe time will take me to another you. If we... Whoops. Duplicate that for now? I just need to be lighter. That's a really hard one to figure out. Hmm. A little more. Close, though. Oh yeah, the blue fuzz is going to be over it too, isn't it? Yeah, that would create a bit of a difference. Um, see. That should probably be fine. will get a little bit lost in terms of the colors just with the yellow collar, but it's probably the best comparison we're getting. Let's see here. Oh, right. Solid layer. That should probably be fine. Also neat to know that the tracking seems to be taking me chewing on my tablet pen as keeping my mouth open, so that's always a good sign. Here. Although I realistically shouldn't chew on this tablet pen, if only because it's smaller than the last tablet pen. And these very, very sharp teeth are not going to really be helping with that too much, so... That's okay. Then this... There we go. Thanks. Yep. Pebble song again. Oh yeah, I guess it is. I'm glad that that's in this playlist, to be honest, because it's nice to be reminded of your work, Nano. And I tend to be reminded of your work a lot, even just outside of the songs you've used in your work so far. Just because there's a few animation studios who have a similar style to yours, which has been helping me to at least remember things a little bit more. Although the animation studio that I usually compare to yours is not going to be in this playlist, so, or at least the animation studio that works on the songs I listen to will not be in this playlist. Bit of a darker song. And I think I shared that in the Discord before, but there we go. Jesus, we're almost at 2 hours already. Okay. That's fine. Close that. Which studio? Um, Crap. The name is definitely not clicking anymore. But let me just find it again. This should just be in the music channel. Ah, there it is. So it would be this one, if you remember that, Nano. If you just scroll back a little bit, you'll be able to find it. But I don't recall who the studio is. Animated and produces by Rudo Co. Okay. So yeah, Rudo Company. That can be paused, please. Dude. Rudo Company at least gives me a similar feeling to your style, so wouldn't hurt to just look at their stuff. I could also just be misinterpreting things, but it gives me the same feeling. Here, here we go. It'll be fine if that's a little bit fuzzy. This will be very small. Here. Oh, oh, I just need my brush, buddy. Go. Then we'll have to spend a little bit of time just kind of exporting these, which won't be too bad, but just going to be a necessary part of the evil for this. Here. Oh, that's the blur tool. Need that in a minute. That seems a little off. Hold on. Hmm. Why did I put the separating line there? Oops. That's not a pen, Jude. There we go. Guess this should be put here as well, since that's going to be a relatively good separating point too. Done with practice? Always good. But I'll share next week. Sounds like a plan, Nano. Hmm, that's fine. Probably go back and do that. Do all the other ones too. Um, would be here. Here. Now, any other practice you need to work on, or are you free to do whatever your heart desires? Since I know that Aladdin will be a good point of discussion, since I've been watching way too much Kingdom Hearts nonsense lately. Oops. Here. I've honestly been watching enough Kingdom Hearts stuff that I'm half tempted to just play it on stream again. But I don't really want to buy it on the Epic Games Store. I could technically just stream it off the PS2, which probably wouldn't hurt. Only one sketch page a week for the Bunny to the Moon. I mean, one sketch page is still at least good practice, so there's nothing wrong with that. The other film just hired to animate roughs. Oh, okay. I mean, that's not inherently a bad thing. Deadline on Noel. Okay. I just need to stand up. And I mean Crimus. Yeah, no worries there. I kind of figured that's what you meant by Noel. Oy. But I guess Crimus isn't really a bad deadline. Also, don't mind the model, kind of just staring at its own crotch. I need it to stand up. Oy. Then also submitted the offering to my lord. Sent it the offering to my lord directors, though. Hoping for feedback so I can draw the characters better. I mean, that's always a good thing to do. They are obviously the masters of their own project, so they do need a little bit of leeway to just poke their assisting artists. Oh shit. A little bit of leeway to poke their existing artists, just so that way we can keep everything on the style sheet. Also, shit, I just leveled up Merc Knights. That's not good. I have way too much energy now. Open that category. Here. I know that's a part of the reason I know at least bits and pieces when it comes down to animation, just because studying that biome, I guess for lack of better phrasing, is a fairly good way of just trying to see if you have the level of patience to do that kind of work. Which I don't necessarily do, unfortunately, but I do enjoy the process at least. Here. My bad, I didn't catch your question. Um, it wasn't more a question, it was more just a general statement. But it's more so just the fact that it's good to follow that kind of process just so that way the animators that you're working with don't get too off style with the main project. Here, please. And it's something that I just looked into in the past because I did want to try and work in animation and art, but I found that I just didn't have the practice for it at the time to successfully do it. Probably would have been nice to get into, but I just did not have the leeway to get my hand in the hat, or get my hat in the ring, I guess is the better way of putting it. Go. Get that sleeve going up there. They went hard on recruiting. I think I shared that they're always low on animators. I think you did. Yeah, only 9 animators, including directors. Ugh. Okay, yeah, that's definitely pushing it a little bit, but I guess it at least means that they're giving people a chance for this school and this area, at least, of expertise. It could definitely be a lot worse given the options when it comes down to an animation school. It almost kind of suck if this kind of system didn't work at all, if only because of the fact that it would make it a lot harder on up and coming animation students to find any kind of just beginner work. But if they can do it within their own school, that helps a lot with the culture of everything else. Don't hit that button, Jude. Because I know at the very least when it comes to certain, not classes, but certain job types, you do kind of need to be more outwardly social and negotiatory just to get your foot in the door, which some schools do not teach you, and they should. Because I know the schooling I went for, I did very much need it, but the skilling to learn networking and force yourself into networking was optional. So that did not help my development super high. Oh, someone was still onion skinned. You don't need to be onion skinned, buddy. We got you. These directors are monsters, though, so I'm sure they'll be fine. Wouldn't say the same for the animators. Yeah. Admittedly, the skills it takes to direct and the skills that it takes to just animate tend to differ pretty wildly. But when you're able to suffer through it for long enough, the animators at least attempt to enjoy their work, for lack of better phrasing. But they are definitely in significantly more of a crunch mode than the directors tend to be. If only because the directors are going to be the ones guiding the plan. The animators are the ones who have to craft the plan, if that makes sense. And I think this is the second last one. All right, last one, and then we can start doing some export shenanigans. Here. I've also found that this Why Future Bass, or whatever it's called, playlist, does tend to have a bit more chiptune in it than I keep realizing. Whereas most playlists on Spotify tend to refuse to actually play chiptune music, which kind of hurts. There we go. Alright, that at least gives it a line to work with, which is better than nothing. Alright, let's see here. So we've got Jude Wiggly. This is just base beta Jude. Now, it looks like I had a way to export this. I think that's the GIF. Yeah, that's the GIF. Okay. And it looks like I had it exported as an image sequence, but mildly poorly? Why did I do it like that? Because we've got copied frames there. But at least they also take on more responsibility than us, and yeah, I guess that's technically true, isn't it? Because you at least only have to do the work that they tell you. They've probably got like 7 different voices from up above trying to actively keep things going. I'm also going to need the timing for that, but that's fine. Alrighty, well, what I wanted to do, new folder. This is for new Gun Wiggly, new folder, new Wiggly. Okay. So let's see here. This is going to be frame uno. And then we'll just have to export things as we need them. Let's just get the guns out of the way first. Export PNG. Gun Wiggly. Wiggly TT. Jude. 001. And then we will save as in here. Wiggly TT. Food. Like that. Keep that relatively consistent. Jude. Ooh. Okay, we're getting into some Gabberstag in here. Don't necessarily mind that as much, but is definitely a little bit higher energy than we usually have. For PNG. Oops. Export. Underscore. Oh, right, I gotta be careful about using those keys. That's fine. There we go. I also feel like I've screwed something up somehow. Twitch didn't show me the first time I said that. I think it's sleepy. Yeah, I think Twitch is getting a little bit tired on a Saturday as well, to be completely honest. And welcome in, Pink. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. We're just getting some shenaniganry done right now, so don't mind me. But how are things on your side so far? Let's see. Did I miss one? Oh, no, no, I'm still good. There's just skipped frames in here which screw up the numbering. Okay, where were we on? 6? Which would have been that one. Weekly Jude 007. Yeah, we're doing a little bit of basic emote work today. Nothing major, but figured I should update the Wiggly a little bit, just so that way we can have our design, or at least our current design, as one of those. Also, how are things on your end right now, Solace? Are you just kind of chilling with some Minecraft at the moment, or do PNG? Oh, Solace has always been here. He's just been lurking. I know Solace tends to work on stuff kind of like I do, so. 0008. There we go. That also sounds like it's coming out of the wrong... Hmm. Okay. That is technically coming out of the wrong source. I thought she left. I mean, realistically, I can cheat because I'm the streamer. Um, now let's not lose too much focus. I really hope this also isn't copywritten music, Solace. This also looks like your old layout. It's been a while since we've gotten to see that. Let's see here. So this should be Wiggly Shadow Chewed. I'm not sure if you can shout yourself out on your own channel, which I guess is both a good thing and a bad thing, potentially. Export PNG. Oh. Actually, we can get our 10th frame in. Oh, and then frame 11. I mean, I'm the one shouting you out. Technically true. So I can only imagine Pebble shouting from the rooftops, trying to see how a freezer is actually working. And then how's it going? I'd say it's going relatively alright so far. We're kind of just updating the Wiggly emote a little bit just to match our current design a little bit better than just, a purple seal. Also kind of wanting to make one with a gun in its mouth, so kind of working towards that. And I'm just going to remove all the guns from here now that we've exported all of our current guns. Then I may make one with an axe at another time. Just the Wiggly TT is probably more than enough for what we need right now. That's all of them? Okay. Now we can collapse all of these and do the same shenaniganry again. There we go. Right, frame 1. Export PNG. I guess this is just going to be Wiggly Jude instead of Wiggly TT Jude. So let's just do that. And then we'll save this as well in there, just so that way our default export goes here. We don't have to screw around with it too much. But how are things on your side so far, Pink? Is the weekend treating you all right so far? Are you ready for the holiday season or trying to avoid it, considering the awkward nature that comes with the holiday season? Why did that one separate like that? Oh, that's probably fine. We can just have Wiggle Jude. Wiggle Jude still works conceptually. Port PNG. Wiggle Jude. There we go. It's going all right. Bit cold here and all ready for the holidays. Well, that's good at least. Yeah, it's getting relatively cold on my side as well, but I'm relatively used to the winter, so I don't have to worry about it too much at least. Also, can I just rename this from here? Because that would help out a lot. There we go. 5. I'm mostly ready for the holidays, but I do need to get a hold of a ticket for transportation since Amazon does not necessarily like taking a conscious creature, even if they are a robot, through their mailing catalog. So it usually ends up being a little bit better to just take a train or something similar. And hey, the Jasper. Welcome, welcome. Hopefully the evening's going alright on your side. Here. 0006. There we go. How'd you make yourself even more cute? I don't think I can, Jasper, since I haven't changed anything. But we're here at least. We're chilling. Trying to make the seal work for us. 0007. That's supposed to be 8, apparently. Then the hell happened here? This one's supposed to be 7. This one's supposed to be 6. I think. Also, I don't know how that one got the wiggly name. Oh boy. Systems are breaking. Neat. And did I do that again? Did I name that one Wiggly instead of Wiggle? I did. Let's fix that, because I'll need these in order when we need to take them into a website. There we go. Export. Wiggle Jude. This one will be 9. Export PNG. Nope. Nope, you are frame 10. And then frame 11 to wrap it up. Cute. Nope. My hair is probably white right now, but don't worry about that. Oh, is it not? I guess. Oh, Jesus, no. Oh boy, what colors are on? There we go. Sometimes the RGB eyes and hair, or the RGB hair tends to go a little bit out of whack, but that's fine. All right, let's see here. So that gives us the base Wigglies and the Wiggly gun. I'll probably just make the axe later at some point because I don't really feel like doing that right now. Let's just get these animated, quote unquote. If I think this is what I end up needing. Let's see here. Should be able to screw with a GIF here as well. So this is generally what I keep open. Whoops. Generally what I keep open when I need to just check, because it'll give me all my delays and such. So this ends up being used as more of a marker for my end, which is incredibly helpful because unfortunately I get very distracted. Doot. Use a GIF. Go back there. Alrighty then. So, we've now got all of these, which means I can kind of just toss those into place. Doot. Oh, Jesus, don't do that. Computer just tried to copy all of those, which, not a great idea. Upload and make a GIF. And then that should be in the right order still. Yep. Okay. At least give us our starting point. If I can make everything 3 by default, that would help, if only because of the fact that I need to make some of these a bit different. So you are 4, you are 6. You're 4. You're still 3, you're still 3. You're 4. 3. Oh. I appear to be missing a frame, I think. Oh, no, okay, this is the right one. So this high snot one needs to be 7. And then 3, and then 3. Oh, don't stack frames. There we go. 11 frame animation. Very efficient. I mean, that is generally the idea. And then that should be the right level of bounce. And our movement isn't too janky, so that should be fine. Save as. Go to new gun Wiggly. This will be Wiggly underscore TT underscore Jude as a GIF. Save. Then go back here, and we just got to do the same for the other one. Shoot. Then set all those to 3. And then are you going to implement the line between the blue and the black into your model? I'm not sure, to be completely honest with you. I wouldn't necessarily mind doing that, but there we go. But it would more so just be a texture change, so it wouldn't be super rough to do. brain. Need you to click here. Viewer for this specific frame is 6 for some reason. Nose up is 4. Flop down is still 3. Next bit is U at 4. U at 3. Nose up at 7. Then the other two at 3. Don't stack frames again. There we go. Nice bouncy boy. Still a little bit quick in places, but that's kind of the idea when it comes to wiggles. Let's see. Just bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey and not sure how I got Assassin's Creed Valhalla for free, but I'll take it. I mean, it never necessarily hurts when you're able to get a free ass Creed game, so I would say just take it with a bit of a run ahead. Also, that's the Wiggly that's currently on the... Yeah, that's the current subbed Wiggly. Here. So, Wiggly. Jude. And I guess new. Okay, that works. Then we don't need our reference layers anymore, and I've been typing on this area again, which I shouldn't be doing. Alright, let's see here. I guess then what we'll need to do is add this into here. Now you guys can see the chat, even though I've got this in a completely separate area. Emotes. Probably should do this not on screen, just in case it screws with something. Animated. Do. Okay. Yeah, that works. CR Wiggly. What would be a good side name just to keep all of these together? I guess Wiggle. Upload. And then get rid of the current Wiggly in there. And then put this in the slot. I'll have to upload these into BTTV a little bit later, but that should work now, since instant emote upload tends to be relatively alright. There we go. I think that line is just enough for it to be noticeable on the emote, so I think that works out relatively alright. And having the yellow collar does make it just look darker overall, surprisingly, so I don't mind that. And then we can technically have the gun as well. Go from slot for now. How about I put the gun on as well? Animated emote? Shoot. Wiggly. Gun Wiggly. And then this will be Wiggle Gun. And then tier 1. Wiggle Gun. The gun is a little bit lost in that, but it is still technically visible, so I'm fine with that. And let's see, this song, I remember hearing it quite a while ago. Do you know? Audio controller? Possibly. The playlist is only a certain amount of length. Mitchie. Thank you, Mitchie. Now let's take a peek here. Just need to change a couple of quick things. So you can come back up just so that way we're not being super out there. Wiggle group, wiggle group, wiggle group. Wiggles, properties. Change this to new wiggle. Maybe not the one with the gun. Nope, nope. He needs to be fixed. Hmm. It seems to skip a little bit, actually. Sure about that. Maybe worth redoing. 1 second. What window was I doing that in? I think I was just doing it in here. Shoot. Let's see here. Thankfully, you can kind of just edit the GIFs straight as they are. So there's going to be some that this. Copy. And then do both of these at 3. And then copy. Do one at 4, do one at 3. Don't stack. I think that'll make it a little bit smoother, so I'm just going to do that. Let's see here. New gun wiggly. That may have been a reason I actually did that in the first place, so I'm just going to make sure we don't make the same mistake there. New wiggly, new, whoops, here. Upload and make a GIF out of the GIF. Copy, 3, 3. Copy, 4, 3. Don't stack frames. I don't know why that's not a default here. Still seems to skip a little bit, but that's fine. The exporting phase, yeah. The exporting phase is definitely a little bit awkward, but that's fine. Weekly Jude new. And then good luck, Jude. Now add dinner lurk. Okay. Hopefully you enjoy your dinner, Nano. We'll still be here for a little bit. Now how... Hmm. Can I not just edit an emote, or am I going to have to delete it and then re-upload it? I'm guessing I need to delete it and then re-upload it. Delete from library. And then wiggle, delete from library. Upload new, animated emote. We'll keep the names as are, but this is just to make sure that they are a little bit fixed. So wiggle will be the name. And then that can go in tier 1 animated. Animated. Hoping Wiggly Gun is not against toss. I'm assuming it won't be, but can always be a little bit awkward. Wiggle Gun. There we go. Then put that in tier 1. That should be fine. Let's see. Wiggle, wiggle. So they look fine there. If Sols can stream Arknights, you can wiggle with guns. I mean, you're not exactly wrong, Nano. Sometimes I just get a little bit concerned is all. here. It still seems to skip around a little bit, but nothing should be causing it because it's running smoothly everywhere else. What is wrong with you, New Wiggles? Why do you seem to work everywhere but OBS? Oh no, OBS is kind of skipping around too occasionally. Okay. Not sure if there's much I can do about that then. It at least works as those emotes, but then on the overlay it shouldn't be skipping around like that. Wiggles, you're not allowed to do that. Now, out of curiosity, is this still effective on this too? And I'm just not noticing it? No, that one runs around just fine. Don't know why it's working as the Twitch emote, but then not as an overlay item. OBS, you're a bit of a strange one. Because it's not consistent. It's definitely just skipping frames randomly, like it's just lagging to play through the animation, which is not that helpful. But then why specifically that one? Is it because it's too big? If I make it smaller, will it be easier for you to run? No, it's still skipping around a little bit in there too. Hmm. That is strange, because this is the method I used last time when putting Wiggly together as well. What can I do about you? Hmm. Not sure, to be completely honest. But I'll have to figure out something for him. Because he shouldn't be jumping around like this. Not in just the base layer itself. Is Wiggly TT doing the same thing? That... Wiggly TT does not appear to be doing it in there. What about here? Because that is very concerning for my OBS if that's the case. Wiggly TT appears to be fine. Okay, so there's just something weird with just the base version, which is just jumping around a little bit too much for some goddamn reason. We'll just keep his coffee handy, and he'll be here to hold the peace. That's about the best I can do for now until I can figure out why the base one is being a jerk in OBS. Dude. Okay. That should at least give me the leeway that I end up needing for now. So what I'm going to do is do what I should have done half an hour ago and take a quick break. Music will still be playing, obviously, but I'm going to stretch a little bit, and I recommend that you do so as well. Maybe grab a drink just in case and stretch any of the tired bones you may or may not have. We'll have Wiggly keeping the peace just in case any other malicious bots drop by, but aside from that, I'll be back in a bit. So take care of yourselves, please, and thanks. Alrighty then. Hello again. Hopefully everyone was able to get a little bit of a break in on your side. I guess since Wiggly is done and on the wrong frame layer for some reason, why did the mug go below him? There we go. This is why it's not good to change your visual setup midstream, because things tend to get a little bit broken and annoying. That should be fine. Alrighty, so what do we want to do now that Wiggly is nice and done and dusted? Probably just do that. We're kind of just in sketch territory right now, just because I don't really have anything else specifically planned. So, I guess we can just do that then. I know one thing that I need to do. Okay, mouse is on here. One thing that I don't mind doing is just trying to get some basic stuff done. So why don't we try doing some simple art tasks for now, just to train our hand a little bit with the tablet. Make this a bit bigger. That's looking a bit too much like a curling rock. I know one of the characters I've been having the roughest time trying to redesign is Juicy. If only because I can't really nail down how you're supposed to add clothing to a slime at all. If only because conceptually it's always just the weirdest idea to do, but when it comes down to it, you do have options at the very least. But then, general idea at the very least is that you kind of just want a non-conforming slime ball to start with, and then just augmenting it until it works in a humanoid form is probably the best way of at least mentally explaining where I come from when I'm trying to design this character, which is also probably why I end up hiccuping a lot when I'm actually trying to get the design out. A pen. But we can just fiddle with this and see if we can get this to work. Probably will keep those lines as just a guide for now, and then just adjust this as needed. We may be able to nail a design for this. Eventually. So I'd actually just do that. And we can just use this as a guide and make this as clean as we can. Yep. Let's see here. But I guess a relatively good starting point will just be to do a little baby version of this. Just because slime bodies can always be a little bit janky. So it never hurts to just get something like this going. This. Nope. I need some fuzz, please. That should work. Backed up a little bit. Gotta get used to our tools, I think. This is what I would want to use for this. Slime core is always important. Gotta make sure to keep that thing safe, otherwise you will die. Good. No, I'm just painting over it with the same color. You dork. Nope. That doesn't work. That. Make this a little bit more vibrant, just to make sure that it sticks out a little bit from everything else. Do that. Oh, a little bit too small. This one, yes, though. Er, Oh, whoops. I'm just drawing on the raw orb with that. That's fine. Let's see. Not only North American, but a typical Canadian, I'm still searching for what could bring you on my personal recommended section. No offense, of course. Not sure what you mean there, but welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running well for you so far. We're just doing some art, but not sure what you mean by personal recommended section. Probably just VTuber stuff in general, to be honest, or the fact that I'm a small channel. Occasionally it tends to kind of just push smaller channels, just on the off chance that it matches up with either a recommended thing that you're usually watching anyways, or just trying to make it so you can find some new faces. But either way, welcome in. Let's see. Don't think I can pronounce your name fairly easily, considering that looks either German or just native to that area in general. But how are things on your side? It's darker? Really? Oh, right, felt pen. That's why it's darker. That's fine. We're just doing some idle art right now. I need to practice anyhow, so it's always good to get a little bit of extra work in. And trying to design one of my slime characters at least. You can call me Herman. Have you played a surviving horror game recently? No, I can't say that I have actually. I know that those are relatively popular right now, especially with just having the spooky season at least passing and people just idly enjoying it at least. But I probably should at some point just play another one since it has been a little bit too long. Because I know Back for Blood was going to be one that I wanted to try because Left 4 Dead style games are always just enjoyable at least. But in terms of survival horror, what was the last one we would have tried? Not Soma. Soma's just flat horror. Survival horror. Guess I haven't actually played one recently, now that I think about it. Or at least I'm not remembering the last one I played. I'll have to look into them again just to see if it's something I would like to play, but I'm not sure if I would. But in that case, have you played any of them recently? Because I wouldn't mind hearing an opinion on them at least. Hey there, Omega. Welcome in. Hopefully the evening's running alright on your side so far. We're just working on some general stuff right now, but how are things on your side? Let's see here. Just put these in their own category. That way we can do that and kind of blend it into the slime. Good. Unfortunately, no. Oh well. Sometimes you don't necessarily get the option to, but I guess with the winter season kind of coming up, we should have some opportunities to get a little bit more of those in. Because stuff will go on sale, and that'll be at least fairly nice for everyone trying to get their hands on pretty much anything lately. Let's see, watching some... Oh, you're working on, or at least you're watching some Moko mirrors. Definitely not a bad idea. Let's see here. This should probably go above everything. Is that going to be in, I guess that'd be 14.5 or 15? Yep. Need to make this fit at least in here first. Shoot. And this part will end up being quite sparkly just to go alongside her nature. There we go. Not too shabby. That's the 12.3 big tourney tonight. Okay, okay. And it's almost over. There's so many streams on tonight. I just recently realized you're also on. Yeah, it's a Saturday. Most people tend to try and get some Saturday time in, if only because that's when most people are actually available in the first place, which makes some sense at least. People also probably want to get their last minute streams in before worrying about the Christmas holidays and all that, since I know that can get a little bit hectic for folks. And or the ones who are trying to kind of grind out a little bit of extra cash for the Christmas season, for the streamers who do kind of rely on their streaming income to help out with that. There we go. And then just about everyone who can be is on Street Fighter 6. Yeah, that's going to be unfortunately a little bit intentional this time around because the beta is going on right now, and there's not going to be a ton of time over the weekend for that. So people are just kind of trying to get their time in now before things get super out of hand in that regard. This will also need to be this color, but this part will need to be a little bit darker just to offset it. then this part needs to be fixed a little bit. I've been a little bit curious about Street Fighter 6, but I don't put as much time into fighting games as I would like to lately. So I haven't exactly thought about if I would bother getting 6 when it pops, if only because of the fact that I just don't have the time to learn another fighting game. And so what are we working on up there? Currently, we're just doing some idle drawing art. As you can kind of see on the overlay now, I did work on... I did redo our Wiggly friend. So if you check your emotes right now, you should see Wiggle and Wiggle Gun. Those are the ones that we just kind of finished tonight at the very least. Just to get, whoops, some things going for the new design. And then what I'm working on right now, at least, is trying to get a pseudo design going for one of my slime characters, and just trying to get a feel on how I want to do that. I see him on screen, but oddly not on my emotes. Really? It's weird. Maybe it's just... Oh, is it mobile by chance? I feel like mobile is probably going to take a bit longer to actually get them, because mobile is awkward about those things. I want it smaller, to be honest. My whole computer is awkward. Well, I can't exactly fault that. Technology is always a little bit of a jerk, so you kind of just gotta roll with the punches as they come, or else the computer will just kind of leave you behind anyways. Let's see here. I can probably get away with doing that and then just fixing the gray over there. Well, that's funny. I turned on my tablet and I see 2 copies of them there. Well, that would mean that you're updated with the emote ideas at least then, because that was the idea. One of them does have a gun, but I do admit that it's probably not the easiest to see, but it is definitely there. Oh, Jesus. Okay, that's a bit harder. um, okay, you work like that. Okay, that's at least handy. Yeah, it's a little bit harder to see there, and I might change the color of the gun because that's going to cause a little bit of confusion, I think. Let's see, fingertip is not what I'm looking for unless we need to change this. Trying to get me to emulate how fingertip shading works here, clip. I understand what I'm doing with it when I'm on pencil and paper, but not really in your program. There we go. I hope the safety is on before you play fetch with that. Oh, I'm sure it is. The Wiggly's relatively good enough to know when he's doing his best and when he is causing problems, so I'm sure it'll be fine. Here, I think we can do it with this brush. This is on the hard brush, but there we go. Brush density, stabilization. What'll that do for me? Nothing super helpful. Blending mode? No. Yep. This part will need to be kind of sparkly and metally seeming, so this should work generally okay for us. And maybe a little bit like... Yeah, okay, that'll work. On here. Then this will probably help a little bit. In concept, it will at least. Let's see. Particle size needs to go down for sure. And then a little bigger. I need to make sure this looks relatively speckly, for lack of better phrasing. If only because of the fact that she is a slime filled with a lot of drugs and a lot of other miscellaneous nonsense. That means that she needs to keep a lot circulating through her body, whether she wants it to or not. So if it looks grainy, that is the point. We could probably go a little bit lower and then do over here just to kind of blend in with everything else. And then we'll get rid of all the speckling on the edges there. This is just to make sure we hit our corners with this. Is going to be a little bit hard to tell, I think. But that's fine. Some layering will probably help with that. Then a little darker? Okay, yeah, that'll be noticeable. That will be quite noticeable. Kind of like taking the salt and pepper shaker to our slime friend, which could be good, could be bad. Kind of just depends on how you're feeling about them. Yep. And erase everything that's not directly on the metal part. Yeah, I'm just trying to get back into my actual art swing a little bit, to be completely honest with you. I've left it alone for so long that it's always a little bit difficult to try and get back into it, especially with the whole streaming thing, since that tends to leave you a little bit pressed for time, for lack of better phrasing. Also, if you do want to kick me into 12.3, you are allowed to. This is going to be something I don't plan on finishing tonight anyways, but it's kind of just trying to work through mentally where I can actually go with it, but entirely up to you. Because I'll eventually get this slime character figured out, but it's just going to take me a bit to actually nail down everything I want to fit on her in the first place. So that's kind of what I want to do. Something else that we can do as well is we can add some of the white grainy texture possibly underneath some of this. If we do this, make sure to get some of the white. And if we add white freckles basically underneath this, what will that do? And will it be noticeable, I guess is a better way of putting that. Don't think so. Oh, okay. Failed plan. That's fine. Worth trying. Delete. Can do something like this, though. Yep. And then for this, the thought process at least, actually just duplicating this should be fine. Don't need a new layer. Paint. And then what we would want to do, grab our eraser real quick. We'll make this nice and soft. And then do something like that, where we're functionally just erasing the center point, but it doesn't seem to work very well for what I'm looking for, though. It's a bit of a shame. I can probably emulate the effect a bit better with just manually painting it, I guess. We can get a solid rim around there, which I can probably make a bit brighter now I'm thinking on it. So here, red. This a bit more in this category. Bit too much. There we go. That's better. That. And then similar idea. But do it along this edge. And then that at least gives general idea of what I want to do. Just to give that a bit of a rim to it, but that doesn't really seem to work as well as I'm hoping it does. How do I make that idea work? I guess just not as vibrant. And then this category will need to be made a little bit more faint, just to sit in there. This top half will need to be vetoed a little bit, just in favor of the gray half, since that's not really going to blend super well together. Oh. That's doing what I want it to do. Okay. That's fine. Gotta learn more about your tools anyways. Next will kind of be eyes that we kind of need to get in here, which means that we'll need to be getting a little bit darker and getting my guide layer that has relatively good positions for these. So we'll need to do slightly bigger brush. And here, roughly. So we can give these kind of a harder edge just to indicate where it is. And then just play around with the depth of the shadow of it, which may work out okay. Oh, that should be fine. This goes here. This becomes a little bit bigger. Hmm, getting there. Then we will need a bit of the red again. Do something similar, but with an eye shine, almost. Here. Oops. Don't need the E key screwing me over in any way, please and thank you. Oh, wrong layer. Need to do that on the shadow layer, please and thank you. And this line layer is not doing exactly what I would hope it would have done. Okay. And then I guess other bits would mainly just be giving proper liquid shine in the top areas. Which liquid shines are usually a little bit more solid, so. Oh, whoops. That's not the button you want, Jude. You want to make sure these are actually going over top of everything. Oops. That's fine. I would just want it to radiate out a little bit from there. That. And then a little bit on the slime layer, so color like this should do it. No, not that. I don't think you're doing what I want you to do. Oh, I'm actually right. That's a bit better, actually. And then get a little bit of a lighter shine in there, too. And then almost a shade effect would help here. Just to give the shape that we need in, for one, this area. Because we need to kind of imply that the blob is hanging over top of everything. Although probably not to a super high degree because you can't really have a super heavy shadow on top of a slime. And then can probably do something similar back here where kind of get the feeling that there is at least a little bit of a shadow back here. But considering the consistency of a body like this, you're not going to get a pure form of it, I guess is the best way of saying that. But I am kind of guessing checking, so don't mind me if I'm just kind of blathering on trying to get this to work. Because I know that trying to make a gelatinous substance can be a little bit tricky. Then eraser come. Can you back up from the side of the slime? Shade layer? You're just not doing what I want you to do either. You're being quite rude, eraser. Here. Probably just for the sake of making this look like it's standing on something. Should also do this. This is a translucent substance. Gotta make sure there's at least a little bit of color in the shade. That is definitely not making sure that there's color in the shade. Also realizing that the colors between what I'm seeing in OBS and what I'm actually seeing in CSP are slightly different. So that's not great. That down a little bit. I mean, that's not bad for just trying to paint that. considering I usually don't bother with a painting stage at all. Although there's probably more that one could do to that. But that is a little bit outside my learn set currently. We still got a bit of time though. What else can I add to this to make it seem like it's juicy? Um, Piercings won't necessarily work. The idea that she is a chemically based slime where she needs to eat stuff to get that gray area, otherwise she's a normal red slime, is apparent, but it probably could be a little bit exemplified, but how? I guess if the gray was running through her body a little bit more, that technically would show it instead of just being the cutoff there. Could also just try to do her name, just so that way it's there, and then get our name in there too. Um, let's get our name on this first. Oh, hmm. There. We do that just to make sure it sticks out on transparency things. And then let's see if we can do her name. No, actually that's fine. Smaller brush though. There we go. Then we just gotta fit the I and the E, which shouldn't be too rough. That's too thick. be okay. So, what we want to do with that, duplicate. Invert. How would I want to do that? I guess what I would want to do is just leave a small film on the inside. So we will take that, shrink by 5. Delete the inside of that. Make this layer. Oh, actually, no, it's not what I want to do. Hold up. Oh. Fix that. I know what I need to do. Get rid of that. Bring that back. Duplicate that. Make one of these layers be a little bit less. Go back into here, invert, shrink by a lot more than 5. A little bit too much. Shrink. Boy, you really just want to call me out on how uneven my lines are. That's fine. Shrink. Circle 10 should probably do it. Then we get rid of that. Oh. That needs to be fixed. Noted. Select, invert, shrink by 10. Then we can do that. Invert, filter, Gaussian blur. That a little bit brighter. Then we can get rid of our selection layer. Make this a little bit more saturated. Oh, actually, wrong thing to be saturated. Get the edges to be a little bit more saturated. And then a little bit of shine to make it look a little bit more like jelly. And I guess if I'm going to be doing art streams in the future as well, I probably will need some talking points because I know that I don't talk a ton while I'm drawing most of the time. And at least when people usually like to lurk here, it's usually because I'm talking my head off, I think. So I'll try to do my best next time to try and come in with some convo topics, just so that way we got something to go over. because I know... Please don't go out on me, Power. I know that that tends to be a little bit more helpful, because the music is at least helpful, but if the point of my streams is usually to just kind of... Oh, right, the powder of spin. I did kind of take that out just to test the gun, but if you do Jude's spin, that's just in BTTV. But Grimace is definitely a topic that we could go over. Whether we want to go over the lore of Santa Claus and how he's able to travel the world like a god, or if we want to talk about elves on the shelves and how corporate America just kind of wants to take advantage of the fact that we like decorating our homes for Christmas. Yeah, Wiggly Gun or Wiggle Gun is there. That's at least in BTTV. Here we go. Those could definitely be some fun topics. Actually, no, because I'm not going to be streaming near Christmas now I think about it. So I guess then we would have to move on to like the Easter Bunny and how he does something similar. You know, I make that solid. Not super great, but mm, no. Saturated but up there. That should be fine. Hmm, that's not too shabby, I'd say. Do need to get better at a more painting style, but really should crop that to about here. Crop. That does at least give us a rough layout about what we want to do with Juicy. So red body, we could probably just make her hair silver, just to differentiate her a little bit from other slimes. I should also probably save. That's definitely something I've avoided doing this entire time. Um, I guess I can just put this in sketches since it's technically one. Sketches. Juicy baby form. And then juicy baby form. That's okay. That at least gets us flexing a little bit of our art muscles again, just that way we can get used to a digital medium instead of a traditional one. Oh god, that definitely hurts my arm though. That's about normal though. I do want to thank everyone for stopping by though. I can't really think of much else that we could do in the last 5 minutes or so without just starting an entirely new project, but I think we're relatively good for now. We at least got the Wigglies updated. We got a sketch done of Juicy in her babby form. I'll either have to look into another art stream of just designing her outright as like a full-bodied creature, or working on the dolls, which I've been making for folks and trying to make them for more. Or making my current model as one of those dolls, because I haven't really done that yet, and I think that asset could be useful for somebody. But going forward here, I mentioned it on the stream yesterday, but I will be taking the next week off just so that way I don't have to worry about mixing too much up with Christmas and all that, and the last work week. Well, not last work week, but one of the last work weeks of the year, because I just have a feeling something is going to go horribly wrong next week. Ow. But I'll be back at the very least during the, let's see, the 28th to 31st block. I'll come back. I'll still be active in the Discord at the very least, but I'll just save the streams for the last week, and we can probably, well, actually, since we'll be streaming on the 31st, then I guess we can just bring in the new year together then. Have a happy holiday in advance then, and don't let anything go wrong. Your superior AI should prevent that from happening. Technically should prevent that from happening. I can't exactly see any problem that would override that, but I'll kind of have to see who's kind of interacting with us during that time frame, just in case someone tries to break something that I don't necessarily want them to. But we'll kind of have to see. Now, who's actually online right now? And just comparing viewer count, because I don't like rating up super high. Let's see, Frank's going with Gato Robato, which is a game I was curious about, but we did raid Frank yesterday. Salty's going. Hope the power stays on and the cabin roof doesn't collapse under the snow. Oh, don't worry, I'll be taking care of that. Solace is usually available as a flamethrower, so that tends to help out a little bit at least. So if push comes to shove, I can always just go in that direction. How long has Salty been going? Oh, they just started. Okay, that makes more sense. Hmm. Yeah, it's art for art. We may as well. Solace to the rescue. Exactly. Raid 1, Raid 2. Raid Saltiest Fun. Don't think I've gotten the chance to raid Salty in a bit, so will probably be a good change of pace, being able to actually raid them off of an art stream instead of a game stream for once. But do want to thank everyone for stopping by. Hopefully the time in the cabin has at least treated you relatively well. I'll be back again, like I said, during the last week of December, just so that way we can get a little bit more time during 2022. And then, well, I might Gorilla stream. We'll have to see, but more than likely I'll take it as a break. But I'll see you again during the last week of December. Please take care of yourselves during the holiday season and try not to let any reindeer run you over, because I can assure you that no hospital will pay for that. And aside from that, that's about all I got. So thank you very much for joining all. Hopefully you have a fantastic rest of your evening, and I'll get to talk with you later. And if you want to join us in the Discord, then by all means, I recommend doing so because I pay too much attention to my notifications. But aside from that, that's all I got. So, been a pleasure seeing you all. Talk with you later. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.